Marvel's Netflix Daredevil series has always been one of my favorite MCU watches. Among several outstanding elements of the series, one thing that stood out to me was the fact that it was seemingly filmed fully on location in New York City. When I visited for the first time in 2021, I wanted to visit some of the spots from the show that served as Hell's Kitchen. I then realized nobody had really documented these on video, so someone had to put on the mask and get it done.
There we go, it's better.
Over 2 more visits as well as an entire summer stay in New York City, shout out my sister for letting me crash, I visited every single known filming location for Daredevil Season 1. You can tell from my inconsistent hair length throughout the video. When I started this project, Matt Murdock's future on screen was in limbo, and now we've seen him grace the screen once more and officially join MCU canon. Now that we're 1 season into Daredevil Born Again, it's time to take a look back at the season that started it all. Many of these locations simply wouldn't have been uncovered, and videos like these wouldn't exist if it weren't for the MCU Location Scout, who has spent years finding and posting filming locations from MCU productions. Huge shout out to Jay, who's been a great help talking back and forth about spots from the show. You can find his website in the description, which includes an extensive map of every filming location logged on the site. Without further ado, here are the filming locations for Daredevil Season 1. The show opens on a flashback of Matt Murdock as a boy, directly after a chemical truck accident which results in his blindness. Battlin' Jack Murdock comes rushing southbound down St. Nicholas Avenue, and Matt lies at the corner of St. Nicholas and West 115th Street.
Manny, don't move, okay? No, just don't move. Somebody get us some help! Manny, it's gonna be all right, just don't move.
Here's a quick set video I found. You can hear Matt screaming.
I can't see!
We're here in Red Hook, and we're just by this Tesla building off Hamilton Ave. We're by a container terminal here off Pier 11, and just somewhere up here against the dock was where we see Daredevil in action for the very first time in the show. And we meet Turk Barrett, who is assisting in some sort of human trafficking.
Hey! Man, shut up. I'm getting $1,000 a head for y'all.
When the man in black shows up. I can't really get much closer than this, but you get the picture. So we're here on 3rd Ave in Kips Bay, and right here is the direction Foggy Nelson walks when we're first seeing him on screen, episode 1.
Let's go. We gotta meet the real estate agent in 45. What was that? Was that a moan?
And he's talking about how he's gonna bribe Officer Mahoney with some cigars. We see that in the following clip. And this is the corner he kind of ends up on.
All right, shake it. I gotta go bribe a cop.
Everything looks a lot different now on this strip. I don't think any of the original buildings, maybe save for a few, are the same as they were when the show was filmed. So this was a hard one to kind of point out, but there's some small details that you can tell this is where it was.
Foggy goes on to meet Officer Brett Mahoney, making that cigar bribe for info on leads for the first client.
Please stop giving my mom cigars, Foggy.
What? She'll outlive us all.
Officer Mahoney emerges from the Bedford Avenue station in Brooklyn, which is designed in this scene to be the 50th Street station in Hell's Kitchen.
And here we have a stand-in location for the 15th precinct. There's a few of these in the show. And this is where Officer Mahoney is talking to Matt and Foggy about how Karen Page has been brought in for murder. So right here you can see in between the 2 poles.
Female suspect found at the scene. Definitely qualifies as interesting.
And this little yellow sign with the address was covered with another sign for this. I don't know if that was there for the show or they just changed things since then.
Do you have a name on the suspect?
Yeah. Page.
Here at Abe Liebowall Park is where we're introduced to James Wesley, assistant to He Who Shall Not Be Named, for a few episodes at least. He sits down with Officer Farnham, threatening to hurt his daughter if he doesn't eliminate Karen Page in prison.
I'd like to show you something.
On the corner of Hooper and South 4th Street in Brooklyn is the exterior for the Nelson and Murdoch law offices. This building was damaged in the Battle of New York, which in the show is referred to as the incident.
This office was barely touched by the incident, which is why it's on the market already.
Yeah, incident. Is that what we're calling it now?
Well, it sounds so much better than death and destruction raining from the sky, nearly wiping Hell's Kitchen off the map.
This is briefly shown in some establishing shots throughout the season, and at the end of the season, Foggy, Matt, and Karen put up a new plaque for the law firm.
Nelson and Murdoch. Avocados at law.
Behind me is 555 West 21st Street, which was used as the under construction Union Allied site. And this is where we met for the first time many key players in the Fisk conspiracy, such as Leland Owlsley, Madame Gao, Nobu, and of course, the Russian twins. Now this building was under construction when it was filmed. You can tell that pretty evidently, but now, here we have the finished product. Hopefully Union Allied is not still behind it.
Tell Mr.
We don't say his name.
Rance, a hitman, is sent to kill Karen at her apartment, but the man in black is on it once more. That was presumably on a soundstage, but the fight occurring just outside her apartment is on 38 Franklin Street in Brooklyn. It was more of an open lot at the time, and it's undergone lots of construction and been filled in since then.
I'm walking on McGinnis Avenue, which is the direction that James Wesley's car was driving as he talked to Fisk. Now this is where we hear Wilson Fisk's voice for the very first time.
We can't have McClintock speaking to the authorities.
Pills.
Wesley discusses the Karen Page situation as well as tying up loose ends with Union Allied, while also mentioning Nelson and Murdoch and how they have taken Karen in.
Her lawyers, Nelson and Murdoch.
Ambulance chasers. They're clean.
So the car can be seen going south down McGinnis all the way up here past Driggs Avenue. The last shot we see of Wesley in the car is driving past a tire shop, which used to be right here behind me at the intersection here of Meserole and McGinnis. So we're here on Bradley Avenue, and this is where the Russians picked up a boy and kidnapped him, took him from his father. Then soon after, Daredevil is on the hunt for him. Meanwhile, over here in Midtown, we have 25 Tudor City Place, and up here at this very top corner roof is where Matt is watching, listening, ready to take action.
It's in this episode where we are first shown Josie's bar, a Hell's Kitchen hole in the wall that Matt and Foggy frequent.
This place is a shithole, but it's our shithole. The city's tried to shut it down half a dozen times.
It's actually the Turkey's Nest Tavern in Brooklyn. It's Foggy who introduces the bar to Karen and to the audience. Josie's is featured throughout the show beyond this season. And recently, Josie's made its return in Born Again. However, at a different location. But I was able to stop by. That's definitely the first time I've ever been to a location before the project actually comes out.
This is just about 10 months before the series is supposed to come out. This is as of May 2024. Karen, Foggy, both of you are still safe as we know it right now. Pre-release in canon, still alive. Coming here before the chaos, before the madness, but it has been filmed, so only time will tell.
Foggy and Karen later walk home together, and this stretch of road is just a block down from Turkey's Nest.
This city will protect us! This city's beautiful.
Yeah.
Karen walks the same block in episode 11 to tell Matt that Foggy's drinking alone at Josie's.
Here's 28 West 36th Street, home to Gary's Loft, as well as Gary's studio, which has several different filming areas inside. So a lot of productions are filmed up here and on the rooftop, which is Gary's Loft. So this is where the interrogation happens between Daredevil and the Russian, the fake cop. who comes into Claire Temple's apartment, and Claire is wearing this little mask, which a lot of people thought was kind of a white tiger nod. But yeah, on this rooftop is where the man in black does the classic jab above the eyelid.
How will I know when I find it?
He'll tell you.
That happens all the way up here. Matt ends up tossing him overboard, landing in a dumpster, which is the same dumpster that Matt was said to be found in earlier on.
You landed in the dumpster. You pulled me out of it.
Is he dead?
He'll live.
We begin episode 3 at Whitestone Lanes in Flushing, Queens. It's here that John Healy, someone hired by Fisk, confronts Prohaska, a Russian mobster.
I was just really looking forward to throwing a few balls.
Turns out Fisk hired him to throw a few balls in more ways than one.
Come on.
I figured out that this all went down at lane 39, but it was taken for a birthday party when I was there. Knock yourself out, though. Just don't get your arm caught in there. Wesley comes here in a later scene to pick up the gun Healy stashes inside an arcade game.
I got next.
My sister and I actually bowled a few rounds, and we didn't do too bad.
Nice throw!
As of 2024, this was set to close its doors relatively soon. So I'd say it's more than worth it to make the trip down to Whitestone while you can, as it's been around since the 60s. Next up is Matt's church, Clinton Church, which is where Matt frequently had conversations with Father Lantom about the morality of his actions. The interiors and exteriors this season were filmed at the Church of the Ascension in Greenpoint. This is a recurring location beyond season 1.
So this is how you can tell where we are. This is in episode 3 where Silvio and Ben Urich are discussing, and Ben's trying to get a little more insight about this upcoming Fisk investigation / situation. So you can see they're doing construction here now, but there is now a public park area around here. This used to be a dock, but now there's only kind of the posts that remain. You can see in that shot we have these poles.
You know something, don't you?
Yeah. Florida's beautiful this time of year. Take a pass on this one, Benny. Some fights will just get you bloody.
After Wesley stops by Nelson and Murdoch, Matt trails him to investigate. He gets into a group of cars which drive away swiftly. This was on Manhattan Avenue in Brooklyn.
So we're here outside of the Moody's here on 250 Greenwich Street, and this is the Union Allied building where Karen Page is offered hush money basically to keep it quiet about the Union Allied situation.
Here you agree in writing to never again disclose information regarding your former employer, the dissolved entity known as Union Allied Construction, or any of its affiliates.
You could see the view there. It's only an interior from an office building, but this is where she kind of met and was basically getting told, you got to keep it zipped. All right, so me and Tony are out here at the exterior shot for the Metro General Hospital. The first time we get this establishing exterior shot is in episode 3 when Ben Urich is visiting his wife, who is sick. Now, the interior shots were believed to be filmed all the way up in the Bronx, but the in-universe address given for the Metro General Hospital, it actually takes place in Hell's Kitchen, and that address is actually where a real hospital is, in Hell's Kitchen. One fun fact is Doctor Strange uses the same hospital, I guess maybe just the name, but Doctor Strange does work at Metro General when we meet him in the movie before he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. Pretty cool stuff.
A quick exterior is shown of the New York State Supreme Court building, formerly known as the New York County Courthouse, where Healy's trial begins. The interiors are believed to have been filmed in the Bronx.
So in this little alleyway here is where it's 6 Liberty Place. This is where a juror was confronted. One of Fisk's men confronts them, and then Daredevil quickly comes and beats one of them up.
Just keep it together to the verdict. Can you do that?
All Daredevil's trying to get is a name, but he doesn't get that.
Who do you work for?
I don't know.
I want a name.
There isn't one.
Wesley and Leland chat in the car, with Leland curious about Fisk's whereabouts.
He's indisposed.
With what? Art. Art who?
Paintings.
The two discuss the benefits of Nelson and Murdoch representing Healy. The exterior shot was filmed outside Clem's in Brooklyn.
Up here on West 154th Street here in Sugar Hill is the home of Daniel Fisher, and we see it in one scene in episode 3 where Karen comes up to the doorstep and visits Mrs. Fisher, trying to get her to work with her to take down whatever is going on here with Union Allied and to find out just why her husband was killed.
They killed Danny. They tried to kill me, and now they just shuffle some papers and change their name, and they get away with it?
Now, this is a private property, so please do be respectful if you visit.
Square Diner in Tribeca is another recurring location in this series, and its debut is in episode 4 over a breakfast between Karen and Ben Urich. This isn't the last time they'll meet there this season, and in season 2, Matt and Elektra hang out there. My sister and I have been multiple times, and I gotta say, the food and atmosphere is great. During my first visit, I got to talk to the manager about what it was like to have the series film inside, which he spoke highly of. We both shared hopes for the series to return one day, and amazingly enough, Born Again returned to Square Diner for filming, but this time, Matt has a new breakfast date.
You're a real man of the people now.
A rich man, by his very nature, is self-serving. A mayor serves his city.
Huh.
So here we're on Henry Street, and this right here is the exterior of Vanessa's gallery. The interiors they most likely filmed in-house in studio, but this is where we see Fisk enter Vanessa's studio.
Matt and Foggy exit the 15th precinct, passing the real-life 1st precinct in Lower Manhattan. It's here that Matt gets an urgent call from Claire.
You got a new phone? We afford that?
Hey, 1 sec. Foggy, I'll see you tomorrow.
Matt runs down this alley and exits out this way, to which he kind of comes to a dead end, realize this is not where Claire is anymore.
Fisk takes Vanessa out on their first date at the Brasserie in Manhattan, which is the Lobster Club today. Things get awkward when Anatoly busts in and interrupts.
I need to speak with you.
Fisk drops Vanessa off at her apartment, and this guy definitely thought he fumbled the bag here. He leaves quite flustered. This was filmed just a few blocks from the restaurant.
So we're here just under the Queensboro Bridge, and we are at a location that might not be recognizable right away. This took place at night, but this is quite a location we have here. This right here, behind this fence, is where Fisk took off Anatoly's head with a car door. This is one of the more iconic scenes, in my opinion. One of the more morbid ones as well, one of the more graphic ones, where we really finally, for the first time, get a clear look at how dangerous Fisk is. And it happens right here.
Embarrassed me in front of her.
Moral of the story here, don't embarrass Fisk in front of Vanessa. Not once. Don't you do it, or you'll end up right in here. Or maybe a different parking lot, but maybe a similar outcome. Yeah, there it is. I think I see a piece of Anatoly's brain sitting right over there, yeah.
Take what's left of him and send it to his brother.
It'll start a war.
I'm counting on it.
A taxi delivers one of Gao's workers to the end of an alleyway. In this 360 rotating shot, Daredevil intervenes.
短短溜溜的照在康定溜溜的长游。
Gao's worker catches a stray bullet and police arrive shortly after. This was shot on Grove Place in Brooklyn.
We're here at 1 Bryant Park, and this can be seen in episode 5 where Foggy and Karen walk into the Landman and Zach building, and we meet Marcy Stahl, Foggy's ex-girlfriend, for the first time.
Foggy Bear, look at you still playing lawyer.
What are you doing here?
Working on making partner.
Let's check it out. So right as Tony and I were explaining and looking at how those shots lined up, we were told that no pictures were allowed. So basically right there in the back is where we were going to film. As you can see, this is the Landman and Zach building. And this is what you could have seen inside, so go see it yourself.
One small location that I missed was a shot of Fisk's motorcade driving by as Wesley chats with him inside. This is on Frederick Douglass Boulevard in Harlem, just across the street from Claire Temple's co-worker's apartment from last episode. A series of scenes from this episode as well as the next were filmed at what used to be Coffee Street Studios in Brooklyn. This has largely been demolished, but it was first used in one area as another back door to the 15th Precinct. Daredevil interrogates Detective Blake about the whereabouts of the Russians.
On their second date, Fisk takes Vanessa to the Press Lounge restaurant, which used to be at the very top of this building, 653 11th Ave. And it's from here that they both watch Hell's Kitchen go up in flames, and it's kind of a defining moment for Fisk and Vanessa's relationship if she's really gonna be on board with all of this. And this is Fisk showing her his true colors for the first time since the show started.
Back at Coffee Street Studios, exteriors are used for the Russian warehouse as Daredevil listens from above. He soon engages, but a bomb is detonated. Before Vladimir can escape, he catches him. But the cops aren't far behind.
On the ground now, you son of a bitch!
As you can see, there's some construction going on at this corner, but here at Prince Street and 35th Avenue, we see Fisk's motorcade turning the corner here. But the street signs are changed to reflect if it were to be in Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan. So there you have it. There's some movie magic right there. This abandoned warehouse, or as it is supposed to be in the show, is in episode 6 when Daredevil carries Vladimir all the way up to these doorsteps. You can see he carries him to a doorstep with a 202 label on top of it. And this is the only portion of the building that's left, but it is the only portion that was really shown in the episode.
A quick shot shows cop cars rushing to the abandoned warehouse. They turn onto Farrington Street from 35th Ave in Flushing. The exteriors used for the front of the warehouse are at the corner of Meserole Street and Bushwick Place in Brooklyn. This is where Detective Blake is shot.
Huh, Detective, you gonna stop being straight with me?
So on this side of the street is where Fisk's motorcade was parked, and Wesley quickly gives Fisk a package, and then they quickly get moving again and get back on the road. But basically, this is the same street corner here in Flushing that we see in a shot earlier in the episode. So this is once again 35th and Prince. And we are here on the compound of Fort Totten, way up here in Queens. It also shares space with Fort Totten Park, but there is an area where this base was. And it was finished building in 1863. Within the batteries, there is a series of tunnels connecting it underground, and that was used for filming.
Access tunnels. The city was built on a network of these. Most of them sealed up years ago.
As authorities are catching up to them, Vladimir decides he's gonna stay back and take them on. And that is how we end off the episode.
Go.
Now I know that there are tours and opportunities to see the actual base and to have access to those tunnels, I believe. So definitely, I think if you can get that experience, do that. I wish I could have. Maybe season 2. Kind of looks like it could be one of our little tunnels, couldn't it? I don't know. So we're here at Commodore Barry Park in Brooklyn, and this is the area where Stick and Matt had a little talk over some ice cream, and it was basically about how Stick was gonna help Matt. He was gonna take him under his wing.
So what kind of training is this?
You like ice cream?
Yeah.
Then shut up and eat it. I'll ask the questions.
They're basically going around noticing everything, all the senses around each other.
You're gonna help me?
No, I'm gonna train you. How to control your gift. Make it work for you. Use it. And how to fight.
So I'm out here just at the tip of the Brooklyn Navy Yard. This is pretty much as far as I can get in terms of closeness to this scene, but way at the tip of the Navy Yard, there's a scene in episode 7 where Ben Urich and Karen once again meet at a dock. In the wake of several attacks in Hell's Kitchen, they decide what the next move is. This one is inside of Ben's car, and they're basically just discussing, there's been explosions, cop killings, what is to be done, what's the next move. And this was filmed presumably in association with Steiner Studios, which has a compound here on the Brooklyn Navy Yard. One of the entrances is right here, and right over there is where this was filmed. You can see the skyline. I'm down here at the end of the Erie Basin, and if you go just down that way, further down this dock area, if I kept going down that road, then I would reach the dock where Matt and Stick went to prevent Nobu from acquiring the Black Sky. And we find out that the Black Sky is just a child. Matt kind of implores Stick not to kill him. They kind of have a battle of morals here. I would keep going down that way, but there's a lot of industrial shipment kind of stuff down that way, and I didn't want to get in the way. You just got to be a little mindful when you're doing this stuff. But I'm sure it wouldn't be a big deal to just walk over there. So we're here in the financial district. In episode 8, we're introduced to Wilson Fisk's penthouse, the inside of it, filmed here at 71 Murray Street. This is a hotel. Here it is right there. Many omelets were made up there, I can assume. So over the water here in Greenpoint, something was filmed down here by the fence, and it is Nobu's warehouse. So the exteriors, some of them were shot through this fence down there. So this is that location where Matt fights Nobu, and he ends up getting pretty injured, and he jumps out of the window.
We have some flashbacks showing Wilson Fisk's home and neighborhood as a kid. This was filmed on South 4th Street in Brooklyn. Further down South 4th, Fisk's dad takes him to speak to Bernie, a bully who said Fisk and his dad were losers. In this lot, he teaches Wilson to just keep kicking him. Eventually, that backfires on him.
Kick him! Kick him!
Here's another location I missed, where Daredevil confronts Ben Urich in the back lot of the Daily Bulletin, convincing him to write a piece on Fisk. This is behind Reese Studios in Queens. At the end of the episode, Fisk steps out of the shadows and into the light, introducing himself on a live broadcast as he pledges to make Hell's Kitchen a better place. He does this in front of Borough Hall in downtown Brooklyn.
In this episode, Matt goes on a hunt for who killed Elena Cardenas, going to whoever he can, and getting whatever info he can out of there.
First, he kicks ass in an alley, filmed at Milton Alley in Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
We're here on the corner of India and West Street here in Greenpoint. In this construction, this corner area back here that you see used to be a parking lot. And in that parking lot was a school bus that Daredevil went and tried to get some information out of somebody in.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Tell me what you do know.
All right. I'll tell you anything you want. Just please stop hurting me.
So we're here at 30 Rock, and if you look behind me, we have the famous ice skating rink, or at least what it is in the winter. And this was familiar in another Marvel production most recently, Hawkeye on Disney+. But if you look above at this building, we can see that rooftop is where Wilson Fisk had his meetup with Madame Gao.
我们谈的是你的命运。
So we're here at Brooklyn College. This is a little bit of a flashback sequence from the show. This is from episode 10, Nelson v. Murdoch, where Foggy realizes Matt is Daredevil, and they kind of go through a bit of a walk down memory lane in the show, and I am walking exactly down the route that Matt and Foggy took in their college flashback, filmed right along the side of LaGuardia Hall.
Oh God, we should be studying.
You're gonna graduate summa cum laude. You can take a night off, you nerd.
You'd be graduating with that too. If you took a few less nights off.
Point being, we are both one day gonna be fine, upstanding members of the legal profession. El Grande, how do you say lawyers in Spanish?
Lawyers? Abogados.
El Grande Avocados.
It's not Spanish.
No. Are you trying to tell me that you didn't take Spanish to snuggle up to what's her name? The Greek girl.
I would take Greek.
So this is where the famous avocados at law tagline came around in this flashback. Right here are the steps that Foggy and Matt sit on down on after a night on the town as college kids. I really love this scene. It's one of the only actual in-depth scenes we get of like a younger Matt and a younger Foggy and get insight into their lives. So this is a really cool spot too. I know that they film a lot of stuff here at Brooklyn College. So right in front of LaGuardia Library, go ahead, get your photo op when you come here. It's a pretty cool slept-on Daredevil spot.
Murdoch and Nelson, attorneys at law.
Nelson and Murdoch. Sounds better.
You think?
Yeah, trust me.
Me and you, pal. We're gonna do this. We're gonna be the best damn avocados this city's ever seen.
So we're here on the corner of 7th Ave and West 18th, and we're taking a look right behind us here. This is a shot from episode 10, a rare exterior of Fisk's penthouse, a completely different building than where the interiors were filmed. In another flashback, Matt and Foggy are interning at Landman and Zach during the settlement of a case. These are the south-facing interiors of 7 World Trade Center, the same building used in episode 3 when Karen is being offered hush money, but it was shot on another side. Another location that I couldn't make it to, this one being simply because of distance and access, is St. Benezet Nursing Home. This is where Ben and Karen meet Marlene Vistain, Fisk's mother.
And what's his name? Your son.
Wilson.
This was filmed at Sleepy Hollow Country Club in Briarcliff Manor, New York, some 60 minutes north of the city.
So we're out here in Ridgewood, Queens, and this is one of the toughest locations that I've had just to access. And this is when Matt puts on a mask for the first time and fights crime. He goes after somebody who he's been watching, listening into for a while. There's a man who has been abusing his daughter, and Matt decides that he's gonna do something about it. So he goes to this rail yard. Matt beats the guy.
You touch your daughter again, and I will know.
The reason that this was so hard to access was you can't really just walk up to the rail yards. It's all fenced in, and there were 2 public areas that I could go into to get close to the rail yards. There are these 2 stops that I was hoping to try to go into and just see how much of a view I could get, even through a fence. of the location was firstly a cemetery, which I had to go pretty far back into. Going to my second cemetery 2 days in a row was interesting. Being as respectful as you're kind of expected to be, I was trying to see if I could get a view of that. And so you can see this bridge that goes over the rail yards. It's very prominent in this scene. And I also went into this park, which is the second stop, Mafera Park. Hope I'm saying that right. And I got another view, and you could actually kind of see the tracks this time. So unfortunately, this is as close as I could get, but it gives the location a little more kind of an ominous tone to it, I think. The fact that you gotta push it for it to be visible to you. Now, I tried to get access to this last night, actually, and it was dark and it was pretty late, so I had to come back today and do it because both the cemetery and the park were closed at that point. All right, so we're here in the financial district today. Behind me, you might see the famous charging bull statue, but right on the street, right behind it, we have the Cunard building, which is where Vanessa was poisoned at the benefit that she attends with Fisk. And we found out later who's behind this, none other than Madame Gao and a little less powerful and a less sly Leland Owlsley. And that doesn't bode well for him later on. Unfortunately, it's not something you can just kind of walk in and visit. I know some, custodians and other people who work there have been kind in the past, but the entrance is all roped off, so it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to get in today. But just behind those doors, we see this beautiful kind of dome, very fancy interiors that Fisk himself dined in, and Vanessa almost died.
Episode 11 sees Ben and Karen meeting at a dock, chatting some more about what to do with Fisk. This was also filmed at Milton Alley in Greenpoint. Karen comes here in the next episode to dump the gun used to kill Wesley.
So this is the Cortland Alley. It's actually a very famous filming location spot since a lot of the alleys in New York City are unable to be filmed. And it's just a one-way that goes down this way. This is where Turk Barrett is running down the street trying to get away from Daredevil. He pulls out his gun and shoots this direction. He eventually pulls a set of stairs down and climbs up. When Turk climbs up, he goes to the top of the building located at the corner of 5th Avenue and West 18th Street here in the Flatiron District. You can see this design behind him. So he's on that rooftop right here.
Fun fact, I passed by Jodie Foster on the way to this location. In episode 12, Daredevil meets with Urich outside the Daily Bulletin once more, this time off 27th Street in Long Island City. This is another location I wasn't able to visit.
You like making an entrance, don't you?
So we're on the corner at 19th and 5th right now, and this is a spot from episode 12 where Matt is kind of sniffing out one of Madame Gao's carriers, and he senses them get into a car. He hops into this alleyway and then begins his chase. And so he's walking down this street, that's where he senses them, and then this alleyway right here, you can tell by that pole that he walks past. And I was tempted to kind of venture into that alley, but I think I'll be all right. The Gao courier makes a right turn onto West 52nd Street from 10th Ave. Okay, now this one right here took me a second to figure out. I found the coordinates from MTU Location Scout or the general buildings street corners. So I was kind of doing some digging, and up here we see a ladder. And that ladder is what Matt Murdock climbs up, and he starts scaling rooftops to get to Gao's henchman's car. You can see this building that the shot kind of looks down on, as well as a little bit of this area. And you can see this building when Matt is climbing up that ladder. Matt then hops onto the building directly next to it. Matt does a flip onto a third rooftop, so he goes from this building, the De La Salle Academy, onto 330 West 43rd. And you can see that building in the background. Matt hops across another set of rooftops, which is here at 456 West 52nd Street, and this is on the campus of the School of the Blessed Sacrament. You can then see him running across the rooftops of 436 West 52nd Street, which is just up the same block. Madame Gao's courier then continues up 10th Ave. And here's a view from 42nd Street. You can see this is the other side of the church, and he takes another hop.
A car then takes a turn, this one filmed quite a ways away in Brooklyn. Very close to it is the back alley entrance to Madame Gao's warehouse, which was actually a bakery at the time of filming. Later on, a fire erupts and Daredevil escapes, but Mahoney stops him on the way out.
Police!
However, the man in black sets the record straight to Mahoney.
I'm not the bad guy.
Then what are you?
Fisk and his mother are driven past a junkyard, which overlooks the East River back in Greenpoint, at West and Noble Streets.
Such a beautiful day, isn't it?
It is.
We're here on 29th Street, Queens, and right behind me is where Fisk and Leland talk. You can see the skyline a little bit in the background in this scene. This one doesn't look very much like it did at all. This was pavement when this was being filmed.
Leland and Gao meet next on a rooftop, which would be their last discussion.
I will visit my homeland and reflect upon the future.
Home, China?
It is a considerable distance farther.
This was filmed on the top of 37 West 26th Street, one of the rooftops Matt was running across earlier.
Our season finale opens with the funeral of Ben Urich. Matt, Karen, Ben's family and friends, members from the Daily Bulletin are all there to celebrate his life. And it is here, which is part of the Calvary Cemetery, which I believe is the largest cemetery in the United States. Somewhere in this vast area is where the ceremony for Ben Urich was held. Now, it's important to know that there's two big areas of the Calvary Cemetery that are split up, actually. The old or first Calvary and the new Calvary cemeteries. And the new Calvary Cemetery is much more spacious, much larger, but this is the old Calvary or first Calvary. And I came in here at the Greenpoint Ave entrance. Now, I walked in here not expecting to come across the exact area where the service was filmed. But from a few identifiable factors in the background, I managed to spot it. If you're on one of the roads in this cemetery, you can access it by finding section 3C and going on the sort of gravel path that comes from here that I am walking from. So I'm walking from the road here. Obviously, it's important to be respectful in here. I did want to share where this was because I genuinely was not expecting to find it. This, as well as that large structure in the background, were two of the large things that helped me identify this. One thing I did find out was that any gravestones that have actual legible wording in the episode are all digitally added. There may have even been some digital removal of any real names on here. So after trying to dissect this scene several different times and looking up find-a-graves and things like that, all of the names that were put on to the stones that are visible in that scene were all seemingly digitally added and are fictional names. But this right here seems to be where Ben Urich's casket would have stood and would have been lowered. You can also spot this as well as this one, and a lot of the attendees of this funeral where they're standing, you can see a lot of these cross-like tombstones in the background. While it seems like the closest identifier or sign posted near the gravesite is section 3C, it could also be in the 3B area because those are all around here. So we're at 299 Monitor Street, and that garage right there is where Wilson Fisk and Leland Owlsley go, and that is the last time we see Leland Owlsley. Fisk kills him inside of here, pushing him down a boarded up doorway. But you can see this big old thing in the background. That is the Newtown Creek wastewater facility. And you can see that when Fisk and Leland are walking in, and then the rest takes place beyond that little garage opening right there. But this is Broadway Studios over here. So they actually use it, this area for filming. There's actually some filming locations posted over there. So I'm interested to see what that's all about. We're here at Court Square East in Long Island City, and behind this fenced area is where Foggy and Matt go to try to get some more info from Officer Mahoney, basically in the wake of Ben Urich's death, discussing how they can stop him and how they have some corrupt cops working for him. There's a few corrupt cops that Matt recognizes that he overhears on the phone that Detective Hoffman is being held somewhere by Owlsley. Let's keep an eye on this building because we're going to come back to it very soon. So this is where Fisk, his motorcade, drives by just before everybody gets arrested.
Detective Hoffman is being protected inside an abandoned theater. Fisk's corrupt cops come to ambush and kill him, but the man in black shows up in the nick of time. This was filmed inside the old Hamilton Theater in Upper Manhattan.
So in the season finale, we get a montage of different officials, senators, cops, people at the Daily Bulletin getting taken in by the FBI for being a part of Fisk's scheme. And right here is where Senator Cherry is taken out of. This is the Supreme Court of New York building. And here on the east side of the building is where we see a few officers getting taken out, what is believed to act as the police precinct office. So two locations, one montage, and you don't even notice that it is the same building. So here on Court Square, and here we are just around the corner from the old Hamilton Theater, and right here is an alleyway that Turk Barrett runs out of. Obviously it's kind of hard to show right here, but you can see that this was definitely split open. Turk Barrett is running from the cops in this montage.
The FBI catches up to Fisk at his home, where he's escorted out. This exterior is yet another alternate location in Long Island City.
He was taken out these doors right here and put right into the truck, which was parked right around here. So we're here at the corner of Skillman and 49th. The truck, as well as the motorcade carrying Fisk, comes this way and turns that way onto Skillman from 49th way.
The motorcade takes a turn from 47th Avenue onto 30th Street, another location I didn't make it to.
So here we're at the 39th Street Bridge here in Queens, and this is the spot of the shootout that occurs when Fisk is being transported in this FBI truck. Now this is just after he tells the Samaritan story.
That I am the ill intent who set upon the traveler on a road that he should not have been on.
And a large shootout occurs right here, all over this bridge. So here Fisk switches trucks. He switches into a Somerville truck, and out of this garage, the truck turns and heads down this road. And Fisk's truck drives under this bridge here. And goes around this corner. So after turning that corner, Fisk's truck crashes here on 51st Ave.
15 minutes to the drop.
It's here that we get to the big reveal. Daredevil fully suited up for the first time. Fisk runs into an alleyway where he's quick to get cornered, and the rest is history. Unfortunately, the location of the final fight still remains to be unknown. Vanessa waits at a helipad where she has no choice but to leave her new fiancé behind. I have no choice but to simply explain this location to you. Helipad 8 at the downtown Manhattan heliport. This is because I somehow managed to go to an entirely wrong pier, a Blade facility instead.
You remember these rooftops? The same building is used for the very last shot of the season where Daredevil is perched up in full suit, ready to take on whoever gets in his way.
He also stands atop this building right before taking down Fisk.
But right up here, same rooftop they use. So I once again just wanted to give a shout out to the MC Location Scout. Thank you, Jay, for making this possible. And I hope to do videos like this in the future. I've always been a huge fan of finding filming locations and being able to finally combine that with the MCU and going out and finding these spots, seeing what I've grown up watching on screen, on Netflix, now Disney Plus. Especially considering Daredevil's future, which is pretty relatively newly known. So thank you for watching. Hopefully, it's gonna be time to put on the mask once more very soon. Stay tuned for the season 2 filming locations.